Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on iKeysRacing after a while, some days of restoring my brain and apart from this, just a lot of personal work to do. But finally, I've been, let's say, conquered by a story that I give you in the description of this video, where you can have the 4 parts regarding the famous split between who organized the Indianapolis 500, Tony George, against what was their known IndyCar Championship, then named as C.A.R.T Championship, and that generated the famous split happened in the mid-90s that for almost, let's say, 15 years kept divided similar worlds of open-wheel racing in America, but also it's a story of men, of decisions, fights, of clashes, etc. I'm not here to tell you the story. It is very well narrated by the YouTube channel you see in the description, and you see on the overlays subtitles, and I'm not capable to do a better job than these guys. But what I wanted to do that really conquered my fantasy and my passion for open wheels racing in America was that the owner of the Indianapolis 500, together with some teams, with some drivers, etc., has been capable to recreate from zero, from scratch, a competitive environment that, especially in the first edition, the 96 edition, was absolutely, I would say, more a desperate tentative to build up from scratch a full season, and from that onwards has become the nowadays IndyCar racing series that we know, where obviously going back almost 20 years ago, 15 years ago, you would have seen nowadays teams divided into 2 equal championships, apart from the fact that the original IndyCar Racing C.A.R.T Championship was very oriented to race on street and road circuits, involving also drivers coming from outside America, while the Indy Racing League was instead all-American, a sort of national pride for open-wheel racing. It's from that point that I want to start. We are approaching the winter, even if the autumn has started a few days ago here in Italy, and I had a sort of nostalgia, or nostalgia, like we say in Italy, for a period where I was very young, first of all, and to me the arrival of news from America were absolutely pure fantasy, were absolutely pure excitement, because going back then to me was a sort of open wheel racing category, maybe more exciting than Formula 1 for certain races and certain competitions and certain drivers. So what to say? I'm here to try what is a championship season that will be like in reality just 3 races had at the beginning of 96, 27th of January. There was also the first race ever, Walt Disney Speedway, also known as the Mickey Yard, doing a joke with the words, considering the Brickyard 500, the main event that was the Indianapolis 500, and in between a race in Arizona on the Phoenix racetrack. Before starting the championship, I want to show you also the option I have included, pedals and steering wheel, as usual, as I did in the tribute for the Indy 500 that I've raced just 1/10. The realism, given my low level of knowledge of other drivers, of rules, of strategies, of the IndyCar world in general, are absolutely a drama, but I want to embark into a 100% race length, so running the 200 miles of the Walt Disney first inaugural race, the 200 miles of the Phoenix race, and the 500 miles of Indianapolis. So it will take a bit for sure. They will be long episodes, but I've been absolutely fascinated by this category and this story in particular, this mini championship that to me was a sort of huge surprise, considering also that to fulfill the entire participant slots available has been used also the approval to allow drivers to race that, let's say, were not really experts of that category, of that type of racing, or maybe they were pardon me, almost too old to be thought as professional and common race driver, but I am worse than all of them, and so for sure is a mini championship that to me will teach a lot. Anyway, to keep a sort of high fidelity of the season, as said, we'll use 100% lane length, going then to edit and cut down that moment of the race, realistic car damages, breakdowns available, yellow flags, pace lap, random weather. The opponents will be all the available from the second link that I give you in the description. That is a website absolutely well made for IndyCar Racing 2 enthusiasts. That is the game I'm going to use. The strength is set to 90% because I think is a nice balance, as I did for the tribute of the Indy 500 some months ago, to allow me to fight anyway and not to cruise at the end of the group and being overlapped 10 times in a race. Maybe there will be just 5 times. And given the fact that at least I have a decent computer now compared to the moment where I've produced the tribute, I will have the full graphic availability, full graphic possibility for this game. No driving aids, manual shifting even if it is not required because we will race just on 3 ovals. Manual braking, no spin recovery. And another important thing is to go to see the opponents. If you don't mind, I've spent just a bit of days trying to find out a way to show which is my car, and given the fact that I'm trying to race as myself, I think is at least a decent and recognizable graphic for paint scheme for my car. But let's go to see the opponents, and please pardon me, the team I know right. That being said, the first opponent will be Richie Hearn with De La Peña Motorsport, Reynard 95, Cosworth. Richie Hearn is the first one. Buddy Lazier, again with the Reynard 95 powered by a Ford Cosworth. We go on with Brad Murphy, a rookie. Arie Luyendyk, the famous driver from Netherlands, many times winner of the Indy 500, Reynard Cosworth. Buzz Colkins, Mike Groff. This time, as you can see, we have a Lola T95. Going ahead, Tony Stewart, that then has become really famous and really victorious between IndyCar and NASCAR. This time, as you can see, the engine is prepared by the Menard team, that was not also a team but also an engine producer. Mark Dismore, Jim Guthrie, another rookie like me. John Paul Jr., this time with a Lola T93. Tyce Carlson, another rookie. Roberto Guerrero, the famous Roberto Guerrero, one of the most unlucky driver like Chris Amon, to name another unlucky driver that really was always close to find a sort of final entrance into the Hall of Fame, but never completed, let's say, due to many unlucky episodes. Let's go ahead. Scott Sharp, another famous name in the IndyCar world. Dave Hamilton, Stan Waters, another rookie. Eddie Cheever, famous in Europe in the mid-80s and in the mid-90s in Formula 1 with a double passport, half Italian, half American. Back then with the Lola T95 of the team Menard with the Menard engine. Robbie Bull, Eliseo Salazar, raced also in Formula 1. Another, let's say, known name, maybe especially for a famous clash with Nelson Piquet at the beginning of the 80s. Stéphane Grégoire, Michele Alboreto, doesn't need presentation even if this year is 20 years since he had his fatal accident with Audi in the World Endurance Championship during a private test. Here with the Team Scandia. Team Scandia was a famous IMSA racing and winning team, owned and driven by a close friend and a close collaborator of Bill Gates back in those years, that transformed the empire of Bill Gates from a simple software house into what is nowadays known as Microsoft. Then again, Marco Greco with another AJ Foyt Enterprise team with a Lola T94. Robbie Gordon, that has, as you can see, a star before the name Cosworth, because some drivers didn't participate in the first and the second race of this mini championship, but just participated or at the Indy 500 or at the second IRL Indy Racing League season that happened between 96, second part of 96 and all 97 combined. But to fulfill the 33 cars participating in the Indy 500, some names are added and we have kept a star before the name of the engine. We have another rookie, Johnny Unser, Johnny O'Connell, not known to me, Carlos Guerrero, less famous compared to the Roberto Guerrero, American star from Colombia, Afonso Giaffone, another name with roots in Italy, but to me absolutely not famous, not even when I was reading the Italian newspaper about open wheel racing in America. Anyway, another participant with a star before the engine, just to be sure to differentiate them from the real participants, but they are really 3 or 4 drivers, not more. Then we are going to the end with Johnny Parsons Jr., Juan Carlos Carbonell, another rookie, Juan Manuel Fangio, 2, another added driver to fulfill the complete grid. Then Joe Gosek, here with a Lola T94, and Michel Jourdain Jr. with another car run by Team Scandia. And we go back to Richie Earl. This is the field, the complete field. If you don't mind, it's time to start the Indy Racing League 1996, the first historic mini-season that did split entirely the world of American open racing wheel environment. Are you ready? I am ready. Let's go to the Disney Motor Speedway. Okay, so we can start the season with jumping, if you don't mind, the qualification session, and I would like just to participate in the race starting from the back. It's a thing that I like very much, at least to offer you a bit of passes. The only thing I'm going to show you is I'm not talking as a sort of Mr. Know-All, just personal feedback, personal, let's say, keys to enjoy as much as possible the game. In IndyCar Racing 2, as said, you have to manage tire temperatures to avoid to lose grip, and also there is a sort of usage for tires, so you have to balance these 2 parameters to allow you to be in every moment of the race with the best compromise. I just called for a minute the set of steering wheels and pedals because I wanted to highlight, let's see if I can do this way here, the level of the front and rear anti-roll bar. Just to say that with the IndyCar, starting from the IndyCar 1 but also Indy 500 again, I've learned to always make an average usage of what are the front and rear anti-roll bar. So with this level, line up is the front, the line in the middle is the rear anti-roll bar. This is the car set up with the hardest level of stiffness. If you go like this, you have the minimum stiffness or maximum softness, as you prefer. I always try to combine my usual setup with the position of the anti-roll bars in the middle of this little tool, just to be sure that if I need, if while racing with 40 gallons, I will have an oversteering car with the rear, I can always bring down the rear anti-roll bar and bring up the front anti-roll bar, so to minimize with a combination of both what is the oversteering attitude. Vice versa, if I find out to have a car very understeering that is not capable to make corners, I can also go from this mid position to the extremes, so soft front anti-roll bar and stiff rear anti-roll bar, and the car a bit works better on avoiding the understeer. For the brakes, we are not on a road circuit, so here I would say I never use the totally rear position because I risk to spin. I prefer to use the total front position to be sure to avoid the spin, also because when I'm driving with the set of steering wheel and pedals, usually I do prefer to have a front end of the car very grippy and not too much influenced by the rear. That being said, it's not a tutorial, but it's just, let's say, personal behavior, just to have a comparison if you would like to download this car set from this beautiful website dedicated to IndyCar racing and in general to Papyrus. titles. So starting from the tires pressures, right front hard compound with 36 psi inflated at cold, right rear hard compound 34, left rear soft compound internal part of the car less stressed, let's say 37, left front soft compound 41. The stagger is 1 inches with the differences between the two wheels to compensate the effect of running around a circle counterclock. Fuel 40 gallons to maybe do no more than 2 pit stops, but yellow flags will make a difference for sure. Wings are 18 and 13 degrees front rear. Suspension, these are cambers, just a personal taste, I'm not saying that it is perfect one. Shocks, I do prefer to stress as less as possible the right front because it will be the more stressed tire of the complete set. The wheel lock will be 16 degrees. Playing with steering wheel and keyboard is not bad. Nice compromise. And gears, as you can see, I'm going to play mainly with 5th and 6th gears just in case of heavy traffic. That being said, we can go to race with the standings that, sorry, I've not showed. See Richie Hearn scoring the pole position at 143 miles per hour, Mike Groff 142, Robbie Gordon again 42, up to position number 8 with Johnny O'Connell, then starts at 141, but for what I've seen before, also with other car sets, let's say that this particular one is set up in a way that in qualification drivers are not really strong. I could run around 160 miles per hour as an average per lap, but then in the race they become absolutely stronger and stronger. So if you don't mind, I would bring again the cockpit. Here we are. Okay, starting from the back, as said, average position for anti-roll bars front and rear to have a, let's say, neutral car, then see what happens with the fuel load. And the turbo boost at the beginning will be at 9. I will reduce to 1 just in case of fuel saving if needed, and I will keep an eye around the 200 laps to do here to understand how many laps I will have at my disposal. Given the AI, just stay away from the first lap unless they exactly clash this way. A bad touch of the grass. No problem, we have 200 laps to pass slower cars. And I've broken, damn it, the front wing. So, and no yellow flags, so I'm going to lose 1 lap. This is not good. I've touched the internal wall without any sense. They are passing. 1 lap to recover, so it will be a matter of just passing cars one by one and keeping an eye on tire temperatures, because you will see that the front rear will go up around 250 in a matter of corners. Okay, I recovered at least on the last classified. Even if he has 1 lap of advantage. Here is quite tricky because there is a deep group of cars to pass one by one. I had to force a bit, but it was a situation very static. And as soon as you force, as you can see, tires go up, so you risk to blow them if temperatures goes too high, around 280, 290. On Italian highways you see very often this situation with 2 or 3 cars all going the same speed and occupying all the 3 lines available. Touch with I don't know who. Okay, maybe we can restart to save a bit tires. P31, 1 second from the car in front, directly involved into the classification, that is Gosek. Very wide. Five seconds to Gosek. 2.8. Maybe it's not a good idea to go for the third line. Externally is not Indianapolis. Ooh, touched, I don't know who. Okay, Gozek was the white car. As soon as I have one free hand, I will update the classification. Maybe on this straight. Maybe not. A slow car, fine. Ooh, I was Michel Jourdain, and we have Unser ahead of us. Tires are okay, not the temperature to be honest. We are to the limit, close to the limit. This should be Robbie Gordon. There's a undecent train in front of me now. What a mess. Okay, it's time to pass because with low cars making this mess can be really a disaster. This should be Buddy Lazier or Lynn St. James, I don't remember. Very stretched, squeezed here and there. Another front wing broken. And the car is not easy to drive this way. No yellow flags, so we go again second. Do you remember my LGBT season with GP2, where I've broken basically any type of front wing. Okay, welcome back, Marco. Here I am. Obviously, if you choose the arcade version of the damages, it's easier to avoid problems with contacts. Okay, too much. I've asked too much to the front right tire. Okay, the tire is going to blow in a couple of seconds if I don't reduce the temperature. I'm sorry to be so boring about it, but the game, despite being a simulator and so like every simulator, not the real thing, even if it is, I mean, a period where we can think to drive almost real cars, but there are some parameters that must be respected, and tire temperature is one of those. No! In Italy we say maledetto. Damned you. And what was that? No. Who was the... Sorry, I remove the steering wheel. What do you think? Racing crash? Racing incident? Or what? Maybe I've re-entered a bit too much, but I would say the one in front, or I mean the one on my left side, decided to do it quite heavily. Let's say that both didn't give enough space to each other. Racing incident. Now the problem will be, can I go to the pit and repair the wheel? I don't think so. I think the race is over, but I've been punished because I was thinking to... Okay, it was not broken, the car now is perfectly cooked, and I was thinking, okay, I can push a bit more, but was not the case. So the patience for this type of races is absolutely a matter of waiting the right moment when it's really the right one, not when maybe it is the moment. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to cut down a race of 2 hours into something like 1 hour, but Destiny decided differently, so I must give up because the car, despite being almost beautiful, is not repairable, not with this wheel. So I have to say that this first episode ends with position number 30, really a disaster considering that who is after me are previously retirements, and so not really a great deal, but this is racing. So for the Phoenix appointment, that will be the next one, the episode number 2, I will for sure let's say improve a bit better my patience. Let's go to see at this point which will be the accelerated time with obviously the winners in a couple of seconds. Wow, the great Michele Alboreto is on top. I can go here, accelerate time, yes, with the A, and let's see what happens. Well, I've resisted 50 laps. It's not, I mean, a record, but considering I'm not sort of great expert of American races, considering that I'm not also an incredible virtual professional driver, not at all, I've raced 1/4 of what I was thinking could have been a race to be completed, if not easily, at least with a tentative for sure. So we will wait together this accelerated time, and I will shut up so I can just record the episode and then choose the accelerated time also for the video editing, so we will arrive to the end of the race. See you very soon. Okay, half of the race, just a quick recap. Surprisingly in the lead, with now Davy Hamilton, maybe the grandfather of Lewis Hamilton, chasing the lead, but they are maybe in the middle of some pit stop strategy, because I see, or yellow flags, because I see the green flag a couple of seconds ago. Richie Hearn, Tony Stewart, that are usually leaders, just a bit far but not enough. The pit stop strategy. See you in a couple of minutes. So, while still under green flag, 3/4 of race gone, and as you can see, Mike Groff and Davy Hamilton pitting while there was not a yellow flag caution period but just a green flag. They went around 5th and 8th position, but anyway they are quite good, really in the top 10. Richie Hearn lost quite a decent momentum with the current 12th position, and he is now 1 lap under. So approaching the last quarter of the race, there is Tony Stewart leading, with Buddy Lazier following him, and Arie Luyendyk in the position number 3, and just 3 drivers, now 4 with Robbie Gordon at full laps, because Tony Stewart is pitting, or is he retired? Let's see. I fear that Tony Stewart retired. Not yet, just went down in the classification. I don't see anymore. Okay, he's in the lead. Sorry, I've lost maybe the moment with many pit stops. And so with 16 laps to go, 15 now, Tony Stewart still in the lead, Mike Groff and Davy Hamilton following him. Buddy Lazier maybe will not catch up the podium. The same for Arie Luyendyk, unless there will be 10 laps to go with another pit stop for the leaders of the race. 5 laps to go, nothing has changed. IRL1996 went 1 lap down. 3 laps to go, so maybe no more pit stop or quick splashes at the pit. And yes, last lap, and yes, Tony Stewart wins the inaugural first ever race of the Indy Racing League 96 edition, leading 62 laps, but the surprise is Mike Groff leading 80 laps and arriving second, then Davey Hamilton with a couple of laps as a leader, together with Lazier, Leyendyk, Hearn and Guerrero, and Michele Alboreto 4 laps leading the race. Let's see if down in the ranking there is some other... no. So at the end we arrived 30th with a crash combined with I don't know if was a violet car, purple car, so maybe I will learn who has been the crasher, if I can say so. But anyway, this is the race finished, so quite a challenge in the front. Let's see what happens now. Done. So yes, this is the best image or the worst image you would not see for yourself. And so standings are these, as seen before. How many retirements? Murphy, Bull, us with a crash, the son of one Manuel Fangio, Carbonell, a rookie, Giaffone and Scott Sharp. Scott Sharp, that, if I'm not wrong, together with Buzz Colkins, was the first champion of this Indy Racing League first season back then. And let's see where Buzz Colkin is, 12th. So let's go on, and the season race results puts Tony Stewart with 20 points in the lead, followed by Mike Groff 17 with 16 plus 1 because he has been the leader for the most of the laps of the race. Davey Hamilton 14, Buddy Lazier 12, IRL1996 10, Richie Hearn 9, X Guerrero 5, Gordon 4, Alboreto, Eliseo Salazar 3 points, Wattles 2 and Buzz Colkins 1. Consider that these points are the ones offered by the game, that is anyway with the points classification of IndyCar 95 season. So for the purpose of this, let's say almost a tribute season video, it's okay. Let's go on. Okay, so in the lead we see the leaders coming from the first race. Will be really a mini championship, and so Richie Hearn didn't transform the pole position into a victory, and the next race will be the Phoenix 200 miles in a couple of days. For the moment, I just say thank you very much. I invite you to look in the links below in the description of this video to really enjoy what is a piece of history for open wheel races in America, and I'm sure it will be not a disappointment, because it's a drama between politics, sponsorships, personal affairs. I mean, it's quite almost South America Spanish affair, but really deserves a view. I also invite you to try a beautiful website dedicated to IndyCar Racing 2 and in general Papyrus game. If you struggle with the IndyCar 2 installation, I also put in the comments the link for a beautiful video made by GP Labs, Jake, that is one of the best racing YouTubers nowadays, publishing beautiful content. He did definitely a good job on helping all of us to enjoy this beautiful game. But anyway, I will try to improve my performances and at least finish both Phoenix and Indianapolis races 100% hardcore season. But before that, thank you very much for watching. Please accept my best wishes for you and your beloved, and as always, stay home, stay safe, stay racing. From Italy, from Monza, from Marco, ciao, bye bye.